Steel bottle, steel bottle. Boston Celtics, steel bottle, steel bottle. Oh yeah! Steel bottle, steel bottle. Boston Celtics, steel bottle, steel bottle. Banner 19.
Beat Rob, Jim, Becca, Jake King.
Steel bottle, steel bottle.
The Caesar on the court to get another ring.
Steel bottle, steel bottle.
Everybody in the chat now sing.
Steel bottle, steel bottle. Steel bottle, steel bottle. Boston Celtics, steel bottle, steel bottle. Oh yeah! Shut your ass up, man.
Your daddy's always halfway there.
What up, what up, what up? It's me, Jay King from The Athletic, here with Brian Robb from MassLive.com. Together we are still potable, the greatest Celtics podcast ever. Today was a big day. The first day of training camp, the first day of practice, and another opportunity to hear the Celtics talk about how fast they intend to play. I don't know how real this is going to be. Do you think they're actually going to play faster, or is this just something like every team, every coach says at the beginning of training camp? I looked back at the stats. They haven't finished in the top half of the league in pace since before they drafted Jason Tatum. That's kind of crazy. And that's not entirely just an offense stat. I did not go back to look at time to shot or any of the other stats that actually measure the offense's pace, but they've been slow for a long time now, and I do think they'll play faster. I just don't know how fast they'll go.
Yeah, I'm looking at Basketball Reference right now. They were 30th in the league in pace last year, which is kind of wild to me. That
29th on NBA's.
On
They
NBA,
used
so that's
slightly different variations, but either way, they were slow as hell.
Yeah, and it is, and I do wonder how much of that is Tatum correlated, that they do like. So that's why I do believe like they are going to play faster, because
Definitely.
I think Tatum is the guy who likes to play slower amongst like that starting group, and so now he's out of the picture for the first few months. And not only that, I feel like with just that and the fact that being like, how can you maintain above average offense without Jason Tatum? I think playing faster with this group is certainly to their strengths, and that's a way that you can maybe get around to it. So for those reasons, I don't think this is just training camp talk. I think this is could be very much real this year.
Yeah, and on top of that, their roster changes. Like Tatum, like you said, he likes to play a more methodical style. Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis, they're just not blazing fast guys who live in transition. They're going to be spotting up at the three. They're going to be, not exactly running gun types. Drew Holiday, maybe younger in his career, he got out and ran, but he was old last year. Yeah. Then he was starting to show signs of creakiness. And then you add Anthony Simons, who is an athletic guard. You basically add Nemi, even though he played some last year. He's going to go from fourth string to probably the starter. And then you're just, to me, like everything has to be built around the guards now, because you don't have the Kristaps Porzingis post-ups. You don't have other ways to play, because you don't know what you're going to get out of your front court. So everything has to be geared toward the guards. And yeah, I believe it. I believe. I don't know how high they'll go. The way they talk about it, it sounds like they want to be the Pacers. Like they want to run and gun and do everything with pace and make every cut with purpose and all that stuff. And then the other part of this, Jaylen Brown has been asking for the Celtics to play faster for years.
Yeah,
and he's done it publicly sometimes, but he's also done it privately, where he's urged the coaching staff, he's urged teammates to play faster. He thinks, and he was probably right, that when they slow it down and walk it up the court, they could get into trouble. And that's what happened sometimes. It happened where they stagnated sometimes. It probably happened toward the end of some of those games in the Knicks series. When they went too slow, they got in trouble. Now he's the one in charge, and you have to gear more toward playing to his strengths. And for years now, he's been one of the top transition scorers in the league. And I think it's beyond just his scoring. It's like if you get out in transition, he doesn't have to deal with a set defense. You don't have as many headaches from turning him into the primary option, the number one option. When he's in space, when he's got guys around him, when you're operating in transition, it's just going to be easier decisions for Jalen. And so I buy that they're going to be faster. I just don't know how much faster. And I guess that is one of the questions right now about their style, but it's very clear. Josh Minot said, we want to be the fastest team in the league. We want to have no lag time in decision making. And basically, Luka Garza is like, yeah, I'm really excited. We're going to run and gun. We're going to get up and down the court. It's like, are they talking about the Celtics? They are. They are. Xavier Tillman said it was like a NASCAR pit stop. Like, have you ever seen NASCAR pit stops? Those guys are going as fast as they can, doing everything in unison, and really, really, really hustling. There's a lot of urgency in those NASCAR pit stops. Not that I ever really watched NASCAR, but I did watch some videos of NASCAR pit stops after he made the comparison. Pretty impressive.
Joe's going to break those out during training camp here to emphasize the point.
I'm surprised if he showed it before the first practice, and that's why Xavier Tillman had that comparison ready.
But yeah, the going from 29th to 1 would be elite. I mean, we saw they got into some run and gun games last year. I vividly remember, the game. I think they played Chicago after Thanksgiving. That was just in the United Center, and that was just a complete up and down game from jump with little defense. And so from that standpoint,
138 to 129 that game was.
Yeah. That was just, but that is, if that's the path of least resistance to wins this year for this team, not only in creating the offense, I think what it does, creating the offense where it's easy to get mismatches in transition, you get the looks you want quicker in that front. And if you're going to play smaller, as far as like the starting five goes, which we don't know for sure how it's going to look yet, but that's, I think, our guess right now, then this is what you have to do to lean into that, because if you're not, then you're going to be, I think, giving up just as much down the other end of the floor if you're not maximizing what you're doing on the offensive end.
You know what else helps you play faster? Forcing turnovers, which the Celtics have not done in the recent past. They have not done basically since Joe Mazzulla took over at all. They've been one of the worst teams at forcing turnovers in Summer League, which doesn't always mean a lot, but is often sort of a preview into changes that a team wants to make. They were very adamant about playing pressure defense and, causing more havoc. And I think that's going to be really important. Like, you look at their on-off splits last year with when either Kristaps Porzingis or Al Horford were on the court, the Celtics almost never forced turnovers. Like, their presence on the court meant like they just weren't, I'm pulling up the stats now, but it meant that they just weren't forcing turnovers at all. And I think that with Nimi, it could be a little different. Like, you can play more aggressive styles with Nimi than you would with Porzingis, than you would with Horford. I think with Xavier Tillman, like we will talk about on this podcast, just him saying everything he said about being in better physical shape now and not having to deal with the knee issues that he had last year. But if he plays, he racks up steals. He racks up blocks. He's a guy who can force turnovers and be a part of like very versatile defensive lineups. And then Josh Minot, like very few guys in the league, I'm talking anyone, not just backup sporadic minute guys, has racked up both blocks and steals like Josh Minot has. And I don't even know if he's going to play a lot. He really might not. But
if they want to play fast, he should. Like I think that's the type of guy you want to be out there.
There's definitely a chance. And I think Also, if you play fast and you're shuffling in a ton of guys, then maybe we see that all the young guys get minutes. That you're playing Jordan Walsh, Baylor Shireman, you're playing Minot, you're playing them all, and you're playing 11 guys or whatever the case may be. And Jordan Walsh on Media Day said, basically suggested that Joe Mazzulla has talked about doing hockey subs. We have one of the first Joe Mazzulla moments of the year in the press conference today when he basically said, like, don't bother asking me about that. Jordan was messing with you guys. We are not going to do hockey subs. Like, just stop it.
That 100% makes you think they are definitely doing hockey subs, Joe.
Definitely doing hockey subs.
That is on the table.
But even if it's not hockey subs, if you're like
multiple,
one of the things that stood out about the finals was not just that the Pacers and Thunder played at breakneck pace and forced turnovers and played great basketball together. It was how few minutes all those guys played. Normally when you get to the finals, guys are averaging 43, 44 minutes. Nobody played close to that. Nobody. They were going 10 deep. Each team was going well into its bench. Like, I want to say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I'm going to pull up the final stats right now, but I want to say that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander averaged like 37 or 38 minutes per game, and nobody else was close. Like, that's not normal. And I think that's indicative of what made those teams special. Yeah, Shai Gilgeous was at 38 minutes per game. Jalen Williams was at 34, and nobody on the Pacers even reached 34 per game.
Wow.
Like, that's crazy in the fucking finals.
Yeah.
And I think teams looked at that and are like, you know what? They wore teams down. Those teams wore you down. They played faster than you. They played more aggressively than you did. They played at a pace that nobody else could touch. And part of it was because they were playing everybody. They were going deep into their roster. They were limiting the minutes, even deep into the playoffs. Like, the eighth guy, Aaron Nesmith, was eighth on the Pacers in points. He averaged 27 minutes. They had 8 guys average 20 minutes per game in the fucking finals. That's not normal. It's not. Like, that never happens. And I think teams looked at that and are probably like, you know what? Let's go deeper into our bench. Let's play a little faster. Let's play a little harder. Let's see what happens. So I do think hockey subs aren't happening, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics steal a little bit of that and go to shorter spurts for guys and have them play super hard and pick up full court and try to make turnovers and play really fast and see what happens.
And when we say going deeper into the bench here, Jay, it's more of like, we don't know who should be playing after
that too.
The first, like that's like, it's easier to do this when it's like, who's to say who should be playing on any given night out of the gate? And it could depend on matchups. It could just depend on, who's got it going, who doesn't. Like, you've got a bunch of unproven, inconsistent, or inexperienced guys in the fold there, and that creates plenty of opportunities to mix and match. But certainly no one's going to feel like they've earned minutes out of the gate. So everyone should be busting their ass. And if it encourages them to do that, being like, listen, you can bust your ass for 4 or 5 minutes because we're gonna get you out of there, so you're not going to be running on fumes. And so that if that's the method to playing faster, then I definitely see that being a important part of the equation here, because you don't know what you have with a lot of these guys, period.
And even some of the things that the guys have shared, seems like defensive playmaking has been an emphasis. Like, Baylor Shireman was asked what will surprise people about him. He's like, my defensive playmaking. I'm going to make plays out there defensively. I'm going to use my instincts and get steals. Peyton Pritchard was asked what he wanted to improve, and one of the things he said was that he wants to not just be in the right spot, not just force guys into tough shots, but make an impact defensively and steal more balls, get his hands on more balls. And so, like, it seems very much like the coaching staff has emphasized all that stuff. And yeah, I do wonder, like, just how the way that the Thunder and Pacers use their bench will sort of bleed into the rest of the NBA, because it was very unique. Like almost always you get to the finals and teams are just loading up their top guys with minutes. Like LeBron James used to play like 46 minutes a game in the finals. And he's not everybody, but if you look at like basically any team that reaches the finals, you're just playing all your main guys most of the minutes.
Payton Pritchard barely played the 2024 like NBA finals. Like that's
Yeah.
everything just got tighter and tighter as you go up the ladder usually.
And the Thunder and Pacers just never operated like that. And part of that is that, like, they were really deep teams. Like not every team has Isaiah Joe or Andrew Wiggins, Casey Wallace, like guys that are pretty good, like to take those minutes. But I do think like there's an opportunity there for teams to look at that and think, how can we use that to change our style a little bit? And I think it's a great opportunity right now for the Celtics to try that because, like you said, like there's no hierarchy after the first 4 or 5 guys. Nobody else has proven anything in their careers. Like minutes after that, roles after that are totally up for grabs. And so, yeah, try everybody. If there's not a huge gap, like why not try everybody? Why not use that as a strength of your team instead of a weakness?
And it may, I guess, when we talk about this now, Xavier Tillman was the guys we talked to a lot today after the first day of training camp, and he explained how, he's got a stem cell injection in his knee since March, and it's pretty much taking care of his swelling issues, and he dropped 12 pounds. But when you're playing fast, Jay, if that's the motive here, I know even if he's looking good, looking fast, Tillman was a very good player when he was healthy with Memphis, but he wasn't exactly a speed guy. So it makes you wonder how, I guess first off, are you buying in on Tillman being a part of this equation, the center equation, after kind of being a forgotten man much of the summer?
I'm not selling it.
Yeah. You're holding?
I'll hold on to whatever Xavier Tillman stock I had. Let me just get it out of the way first. I am not a believer in his 3-point shot. He said today that he has worked tirelessly on his 3-point shot and feels comfortable in it. I believe he said he repped it till you damn near can make shots with your eyes closed. Like, based on his career averages, he's always been shooting with his eyes closed. And he has never had a single season when he's shot the ball well. Like 33.8% is the best year of his career. That was his rookie year. He took 1.1 threes per game. He is shooting 25.2% from 3 in his career. He shot 15.6% last year, and obviously super limited playing time, super limited attempts. This is a terrible shooter, not a bad shooter, a terrible shooter. I remember when this was a discussion last preseason because he made some shots last preseason. It's like, I'm going to trust a larger sample size here. You go back to college, Xavier Tillman was not a 3-point shooter. He's just never been a 3-point shooter. So I'm skeptical of that. Now, if his knee works, if his knees both work, he's a really good defender. And he can be a very useful defender. And this is a front court that lost a whole lot of defense. They lost Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Cornett, some of the best rim protectors in the league. And they didn't really add much defense other than Minot. So Tillman, yeah, there's an opportunity for a guy who guards. And he can guard 1 through 5. We've seen him guard some of the better players in the league. He was used to guard Luka Doncic in the finals. So when he's physically right, they trust him defensively. They know that they can throw him on those types of guys, which is a really important skill to have, especially on a team that as we've said before, doesn't really have a power forward. There's a real gaping hole at power forward. Whether you want to include Xavier Tillman there, Chris Boucher there, go small, Sam Hauser. I don't know what they're going to do, but whatever option is imperfect. So yeah, I think there's an opportunity for Tillman there. So I'm not ready to say like he's going to win a big role for the Celtics. I think obviously they were They went out and got Luka Garza early in free agency. They are excited to see what he can do with more minutes. Nimi, obviously, they trust him after what he's done in limited minutes, and they think that he's ready for a bigger role. So Tillman's gonna have to earn a spot, but all the stuff that he said today is super promising, because I do think if he is right physically, then they could really use a guy like him, at least on defense.
Yeah, it quickly becomes probably the Missoula's most trusted big man defender.
I don't think that's even close.
Yeah, not even close. You're right. Like, just based on what he's done in his, like, in Memphis, he was like a bona fide starter there for a couple of years when he was able to stay on the floor. So yeah, the man's only 26 years old.
I can't believe he's only.
He
is the oldest 26-year-old in world history.
Did you see
there
the
has
RJ
never
Lewis
been
story?
an older 26-year-old? Yeah,
that was
yeah,
gold. Everyone go look that up. Tillman was talking to I think it was an NBC Sports Celtics.com crew, and was talking how his first interaction with RJ Lewis in the at the facility, and he came up to him being like, acting like he was an OG, and then he was like, called him OG, and then Tillman's like, I'm not that old. He's like, how old are you? He's like 26, and apparently RJ, he's what, like 23 or something like that. And he didn't believe it. He was like, what? But that's 100% the right reaction from Lewis there, because the man is 26 going on 35, I feel like.
I mean, I would say like 45. Tillman he's been an OG since he was in college, probably. He was on Michigan State. They were calling him OG.
Man's got 3 kids at home. He's probably running, doing more growing up stuff than these guys have dreamed of doing for the last 7-8 years of their life. So it's on and off the floor. It's there, but it'll be good again to have him. And who knows what the long-term situation for him is here. But regardless, if they want to have this to be a competitive season, period, like Tillman being what they thought they were getting a couple years ago at the trade deadline, what he was, at points at the end of that season, that's I think an underrated part of that equation, Jay, because it's like, to make this work, you're going to need different options for different type of matchups. And Tillman's probably the guy with easily the most defensive versatility in that spot, and can set good screens, finish around the basket. And like you said, I don't believe in his 3-point shot, but like, he can do enough other stuff on offense where you can get away with that if everyone else on the floor is a shooter.
Yeah, and also, if you are playing as fast as they say they're going to play, that's toughest on the big men.
Yeah.
And your big men, you're not going to want them to play a ton of minutes. Nimi has never played a ton of minutes. Luka Garza has certainly never played a ton of minutes. Like, you're going to want to shuffle those guys in and out pretty quickly, I think. And having another option that, like Xavier Tillman, his emergence, if he does emerge, I think it would be a pretty big deal to solidify their defense, to give them another option at power forward, at center, wherever, and to give them just more defensive versatility, because they're going to need it. They're going to need it in the front court. He's as polished, mature, smart a defender as they have, and he's a top-notch defender. Like he is a really damn good defender. He can be an offensive zero, but he can really guard, and they might have enough shooting among their guards and Jaylen Brown that they won't need a lot of scoring from the front court. So we'll see. We'll be back the rest of this week. Practice resumes on Wednesday. Joe Mazzulla wants to play fast. It's funny hearing the new guys talk about Joe Mazzulla. Like, they just kind of smile. Josh Minot called him. He's like, he's a little weird.
But inspiring.
Chris Boucher said he's a really mellow guy. I was like, mellow? What the hell are you talking about? One last thing I want to mention before we go. Somebody's got to tell Jason Tatum how to measure a month. Because he tweeted today that he's 5 months since his surgery. He's not. His injury was May 12th. October 12th will be 5 months from his injury. It is 20 weeks. 4 weeks does not make a month. Sometimes in February it does. but not all the time. Somebody's got to let him know, like, it's not 5 months yet.
Do you think it was
But-
October 1st? Is that his?
No, because in his interviews, he has said like every Tuesday is another week. So today was
Okay.
Tuesday. Today was 20 weeks.
Yeah.
I would guess he's just like 20 divided by 4
four,
is
yeah.
5. It's 5 months.
Mm.
That would be my guess.
Listen, whatever speeds it up, whatever makes it work when it's
Whatever gets him back,
whatever gets the job done.
whatever gets him back quicker. We'll be back as soon as tomorrow. Love you guys, the kids, the gods, the legends. You guys are the best. Everybody else, we love you too.
Still bottle, still bottle. The boss still bottle, still bottle.